Enjoying all that Toxic Radio has to offer? Well, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Be the first to find out about ticket giveaways, amazing guests, awesome contests, and Toxic Radio events. Just search Toxic Radio Live, all one word, and press that little button. Every time you do, someone here at Toxic Radio will get their wings. Yay! Well, not really. Aww. But we will get a warm, fuzzy feeling in our tummies. But then again, that just might be the beer. Anyway, like and follow us, and we will see you out there on the interwebs.
Guess what? Toxic Radio is going on a road trip.
Westbound and down, 18-wheeler rolling.
November 7th, we're crossing the river into Philly, and there's gonna be a party. Why a party on a Sunday in November, you may ask? What, are you new here? It's a football tailgate at Lincoln Financial Field for the Birds and Bolts matchup. Come out to see the Toxic Radio crew for fun, prizes, freebies, and shenanigans. Toxic Mike, Super Dave, John Evans, Mr. Entertainment, the guys from Wire to Wire, B. Godfrey, and Gene Walzak from the brand new Birds Deep podcast. Jimmy Page, Nicki Minaj, Martin Sheen, Kim Kardashian, Grover.
Whoa. What the hell was that?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry.
That's it. No more coffee for you.
Fair enough.
So just the people from Toxic Radio, right?
Right. Got it.
Okay. Proceed.
And we might even get a special live performance from Supreme de Resurrecta. So join us at noon, Sunday, November 7th in Lot N, right across from Jetro. Don't do your tailgate safe. Do it toxic.
Enjoying all that Toxic Radio has to offer? Well, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Be the first to find out about ticket giveaways, amazing guests, awesome contests, and Toxic Radio events. Just search Toxic Radio Live, all one word, and press that little button. Every time you do, someone here at Toxic Radio will get their wings. Yay! Well, not really. Aww. But we will get a warm, fuzzy feeling in our tummies. But then again, that just might be the beer. Anyway, like and follow us, and we will see you out there on the interwebs.
Welcome to show 56, Wire to Wire Sports Podcast. I am your host, Gene Walzak, and to my right, I got the man, the myth, the legend, Uncle Shally.
What's going on?
To my left, I got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, playing on his phone, College Control.
What's up, everybody?
What's happening? It's show 56. You know what show 56 is, right?
LT.
Outside linebacker pressure. Hitting your quarterback, knocking you out over the middle, Lawrence Taylor. Little LT. It's the only New York player that I idolize.
Cocaine between snaps.
I don't
Let's
care.
Go.
Shark LeVay. So we got a lot to get into. College football came out with their rankings.
That they did.
I'm so floored by those rankings.
We wanted chaos. We got chaos.
That's chaos.
Yes, we did.
We got our
Yes,
college
we did.
football pick'em segment. Got NFL. Got to break down a couple games. We got our NFL Pick'em segment. But this is not a just football show. This is not just a football show. We got the World Series recap, and we said this earlier in the year. We could say it again, and we possibly could say it one more time. This could be the best UFC card of the year.
Could be.
You got 268 and 269 isn't looking that bad. Got a lot to get into. Somebody, one of us, I don't know, one of the three of us, might think 269 might be better. I don't know.
It's me.
Way to kill the suspense, Shally. Jesus.
Got to keep them tuned in for reasoning now.
So, Mike, I sent you a picture of the college football rankings so all our listeners at home can see it. If you don't mind sharing that with the group, and we're going to break these rankings down because I love the way this looks. I looked for pictures for a while, and I love the way this one broke down. It looks real clean to me.
Make sure you don't pick the dirty one, Mike.
All right, so Shally, do me a favor. Let's start easy. From 15 to 25, is there anything you have a real issue with? Anything that you dislike? Anything that you like? So to read out for people listening on the podcast, BYU's 15, Mississippi, Ole Miss 16, Mississippi State 17, Kentucky 18, NC State 19, Minnesota 20, Wisconsin 21, Iowa 22, Fresno State, San Diego State 24, and Kenny Pickney and the Pitt Panthers 25.
This is easy for me. The Big Five bias BS is just as evident at the bottom of this as it is at the top. There's no way Minnesota's the 20th best team in the country. There's no way Wisconsin's the 21st best team in the country. And I think you could say with the way Iowa's played all year, they're better than both of them, and they're ranked lower. Coastal Carolina, I think, has one loss. Again, I don't think anybody thought they were going to be 15th or anything. The fact that they're not ranked is ridiculous. And you have teams like UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio, who are 8-0, beating everybody by an average of like 40 points. I understand the competition they're playing is not the same, but you're forcing all these teams into the bottom of the rankings now. So when they went into this meeting, in hindsight, they could give all these, like, that gives Ohio State another ranked win. It gives Michigan State another ranked win against Wisconsin and all that stuff. Those teams have no business being ranked. That is a perfect example of what I talk about every year when we do these preseason rankings, and how they screw them up. And this is how they do it at the end of the year to bolster their teams. So
just 15 to 25.
Yeah. So
give me one big thing you don't like and one thing you do like. You gave me a few you don't like. Just give me one.
For me, it's literally a tie between Minnesota and Wisconsin. They should not be in the top 25.
So
Wisconsin's got to go. The one thing I do like
Wisconsin soda.
They're kind of close on the map too, so I mean, you kind of lump them together.
Yeah. The thing I do like is that they gave BYU their due, and the fact that they're up at 15 above Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Kentucky SEC teams. I do like that they did that. So
okay, fair point. I'm going to read off something on Wireline and I'll get College Control's breakdown. Bullshit rankings.
Agreed.
Straight BS rankings.
Agreed.
SEC dominance, the reason for Bama in the top 4.
No.
How is Oklahoma 8? Screw Bama. Only reason is Saban. There are comments so far. I have a feeling we're going to get to some more.
Pretty sure we're going to touch on all that.
College Control, 15 to 25. Something you like, something you hate.
So I'm somewhat agreeing with Bill here. Not necessarily the teams that are here, the teams that aren't here. UTS, University of Texas, San Antonio. They definitely 100% should be in here. Undefeated team. And you got Wisconsin. I get it. They just beat Iowa, and that's why the committee has them ahead of Iowa. But Iowa's been a better football team all year. We talked about Graham Mertz stinking. I mean, you see them play good competition, and they just wet the bed completely. Like, I get it. Iowa it's a decent win at this point, but you got UTSA not in the top 25. That's absolutely absurd. Plus, you got teams like Houston and SMU who are 7-1, 6-1 respectively.
Well,
and
we'll get into that shortly, but there's a reason for that.
And
too.
they still aren't ranked. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that, and that's the craziest part of it, because if those teams are ranked,
3 losses, just to be clear. 3 losses, and they're not good losses. Like
blown out of the water against Notre Dame. Like, I know the score was bigger than what the game was, but like
they got dominated at home by Michigan, and their 3rd loss was somebody. I guess it might have been Iowa. Oh no, they beat Iowa. Their 3rd loss isn't good either.
I'm gonna take a look for you. Penn State, first game of the year.
Yeah, at home. They don't have they have 3 losses, and your big win is the 22th ranked team in the country. So you make the top. Not
that I like Penn State. I know they lost 3 out of 4 or 3 straight. But if they have 3 losses and Wisconsin has 3 losses,
correct, 100%.
Yeah, they beat Wisconsin
and
in
it's
Wisconsin,
and it's not even like. Well, you can't even say like, oh, Wisconsin has the better win. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Yeah, Iowa's their best win,
and I get it. Penn State lost to Iowa, but
Penn State beat Auburn.
Penn State exactly. Penn
And
State
beat
beat Auburn.
and beat Wisconsin.
When they played Iowa, they were ahead before their starting quarterback got hurt. Like, I'm not one to give Penn State credit, but this is crazy.
Bad, man.
So I think that my give me one you like. Sorry, I skipped over that. You were great on the one you disliked. Is there anything you like?
No, I mean Bill gave credit to BYU. I mean BYU, that's a BYU team that played bad competition and they played a couple good teams and they lost both games. Like I don't know if they should be 15 either. So I don't know if there's anything in that section that I do like, to be honest.
So Kentucky's one loss is Georgia, right?
Yeah,
I think they're too low.
And the problem you have with Kentucky is they don't have a big win.
Florida's
4-4.
It's fair, but
I just don't know who I put.
They were in
them.
a game with Bama. They were in the first quarter with Georgia.
Yeah, like I'll bring up Florida later because it's going to factor into other things, and that is again my pet peeve with this entire thing.
I mean, you could move Kentucky up one spot, but like I don't know if I put them ahead of Ole Miss, and I mean I probably put them ahead of BYU, but like I said, I think Ole Miss is still better than them too. So it's just weird, completely weird.
I like Fresno, but that loss at Hawaii kills them. If their only loss is that 3-point loss to Oregon, they're higher.
They're higher. They're a lot higher.
But that Hawaii loss was just so bad.
Hawaii is a bad loss. It's a real bad loss.
And they lost 3 points at Oregon too. It's a really good game. What?
7.
7, sorry. 1-score game. That's one.
Yep.
That
I
was
don't
a
know why I
game.
thought it was.
Something crazy happened at the end of that game though.
Yes.
They threw they had the ball and threw like an interception or something.
Yeah, something late.
Yeah, like they had the
They
ball
would
at the end.
So it's funny because Kayvon Thibodeau, strip sack fumble, touchdown. Next play, strip sack fumble, next play, touchdown. It's 14-0 Oregon, and then it was 21-14 Fresno State.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rattled off 21 straight.
Yep.
I remember that game. Like I picked it as my super dog that week.
Good work.
But Fresno State, I think, is a little bit better team than 23rd. But I don't hate that. I'm glad that they're there. I think Kentucky should be a little higher. I think Mississippi State with 3 losses shouldn't be over a 1-loss Kentucky team. But I get it. We're splitting hairs at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you on that though. I don't think that's really splitting hairs.
But I mean, Mississippi State has they beat Kentucky and they also beat.
They didn't beat Kentucky. Kentucky's loss was to Georgia.
Yeah.
Mississippi State beat Kentucky this past week.
Oh, okay.
31-17.
Kentucky has 2 losses then.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
all right,
I feel a little better.
There you go.
Breaking this down, top 14. I'll read it out for everybody watching at home. A&M 14. I love that. No issues there. Auburn 13. I don't have any issues there.
I don't think you're really gonna have any issues with this.
Big win versus
until you get to 8.
Not gonna lie, we probably should just get through all of them and then because we're gonna have some big issues and people are gonna forget.
Once we get to 8, is when
stop. Let's go. All right, so we'll go back.
No, I'm just saying. Like I just think.
Did anybody have an issue with A&M, Auburn, Baylor, Oklahoma State?
No, I think they're all. Again, I think you could probably argue maybe they're
Split
a spot.
hairs,
a spot too high or spot too low. Oklahoma State, Baylor. They all have big games coming up. That's all going to sort itself out anyway. So,
Auburn too, same thing. Even Notre Dame. As much as I hate Notre Dame, I'm not upset with them being 10.
No, I mean they're 7-1. I mean they don't have.
They have no really good wins.
They
don't have anybody left on their schedule.
And nobody left
so
that's going to elevate them. That's exactly.
They are what they are.
They're going to hover right around there. They're not going to move up unless a lot of teams above them fold. And that's not going to happen.
I'm going to tell you who the biggest Notre Dame fans in the entire world is right now.
Cincinnati.
That's correct. Cincinnati. We'll get into that in a second.
They have Navy this week. They have.
It's a big game. Just kidding. To Navy it is.
To Navy it is. They have Navy and like a banged up, underperforming Stanford team and something else. That's what they have left. They're not going to lose a game.
Wake Forest undefeated at 9.
I love that they put them there. I don't know. The ACC is just bad this year. It's just bad. And
they got a tough game this week.
And Clemson.
They're playing at North Carolina.
That is a tough game. And Clemson being awful is not helping.
No, not at all.
They would need so much help to get close to getting into the playoff. But again, I like that
they were on the table. They got shot.
Yeah,
maybe.
You still need a lot of help. They need more help than Cincinnati does.
Fair.
But I like that they gave them their due. That they are sitting at 7 or 8-0. They're 8-0. They gave them their due. They're undefeated. They put them in the top 10. So I'm okay with that too.
My issue comes right here. This is absolutely disgusting. So I'm going to get on a rant in this later, but let me get through the rankings first. But I promise you I'll be on a rant on this. Oklahoma being at 8 is dog shit. You can't have a Power 5 conference that's undefeated. I don't care if they've not looked as impressive in some games. They've played ranked teams. They're a better team than 8. They're undefeated in the Big 12. I can't you can't tell me Texas is back and Steve Scarcesian's got those guys playing great and then sell me when Oklahoma beats them in their own house after they had to switch quarterbacks, came back from down 28-7 in the first quarter. Like, you're not going to give them credit.
To be fair, it wasn't their own house.
Yeah, it was the combo. But here's the start of my dilemma with these rankings. If you go off preseason rankings, they have 2 or 3 top 25 wins. If you go with the way they base it off of now, which is current, they base it off this thing.
They have none.
They have none. So they have no big wins. They do have Oklahoma State left, Baylor, I forget
Iowa State.
Iowa State. If they win all of them, and then they're going to play one of them teams again in the Big 12 championship game, they're going to jump up. I don't like them being there.
You know what that tells me?
To me, though, if the committee would stay consistent with this theory and the way they did it, I would be okay with it. But they pick and choose when they want to enforce it.
That is literally the biggest
You're
issue
okay with
it.
them being an 8?
I'm saying if they would have used that criteria for every team above them, I would have been okay with it, because I think they've left the door open for them to climb. Their three best teams they're going to play are their next 3 games. If they win all them, they're going to be in the top 4. They're going to pass teams.
Yeah.
Especially if they remain undefeated. They're going to pass Ohio State. They're going to pass Oregon. They're going to pass those teams. They got to earn it. And again, if they stayed consistent with the way they evaluated Oklahoma with everybody else, I'd be more okay with it than I am. I think it's terrible that they're there. I understand it, though.
I don't.
If the committee is selling me, the problem is that the past 6 years that we've been doing this, it feels like there's a new criteria every year. So
every year.
We talk about it. Conference championships matter. Undefeated matter. Head-to-head matchups matter. But this year it seems like, right out the gate they were like, all right, we're giving you who we think the 10 best teams in the country are. Eye test. That's it. Like, that seems like that's all they went off of, was just complete eye test.
Well, it's one of those. Agreed. Like
they didn't go off eye test though.
No,
eye test head to head. Like,
but they pick and choose when they use it. Like, if you're going off record and you're just going to put everybody together and be like, all right, the undefeated teams are all here, then do that. But they don't. Then when they want to move people down, they go, oh, well, they struggle with so and so. They struggle with this game. All right, well, then nobody's looked great. Then if you're going to apply the eye test to, Oklahoma, then apply it to Alabama.
Right.
Alabama hasn't looked like normal Alabama. They went to Florida, who's an unranked team now, who has 4 losses, and almost lost.
Yep.
And somehow, we're going to get to this in a second, but somehow they're 2. There's just no consistency within the committee and within the reasoning, the way they rank certain teams. They pick and choose when they want to use certain things. And the other problem is in their credo and their mission statement is they have to take this word out. They keep leaving the word in the most deserving.
Yep.
Don't sell me most deserving when you're screwing the teams that are deserving to be there.
That are undefeated and can't do anything more than play what's on their schedule.
I'll get into this in a second when we get to them, but
the same as what. All right, so West Virginia's a bad team now.
Okay, that's not. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, because we can't talk about West Virginia being like a solid team and then degrade teams like Maryland and Minnesota, like teams like that. Like, they're all in the same category.
West
just
Virginia
middle
would
of the
wipe
tier.
the floor with Maryland.
They didn't though. They played this year.
I think they're either 5-3 or 4-4 too. I mean we're talking about like a solid football team. I would never call West Virginia good this year. I wouldn't call Maryland good either. But I mean, you're really like mucking it up at that point if we want to start getting into that stuff.
Well, you got your boys at 7. You want to talk about them at all? I think they're exactly where they should be.
I'm fine with them. I predicted they were going to be 8. I thought Oklahoma would be ahead of them. If Oklahoma was ahead of them, I wouldn't be mad. They've played the better schedule. But, again, Oklahoma wins out, they're going to pass Michigan. So
Maryland beat them. I know that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
They won 30-24.
September 4th.
Yep.
That was opening weekend. I think they're right around. I thought they were. I was fearing they were going to have Wake Forest and Notre Dame both ahead of them. I'm glad they don't. I was talking to both you guys and even Cottrell a little bit more about it. There was a lot of analysts that predicted whoever won that game Saturday was going to be 2. So I didn't think that made me feel a little bit better. I didn't think they were going to fall that much. So I think they're fine at 7. I think they're going to get past. I just think there's going to be teams behind them that can do things that they can't.
I just think they put them at 7 if they run the table and then win the Big Ten. But they need Michigan State to lose twice. They can't run the table unless Michigan State loses twice.
Yeah, they're going to need Ohio State to definitely beat them, and then either they have Purdue, Penn State, and somebody else.
They got Purdue this week.
But how does that 3-way tie? I don't know what the rule is on the 3-way tiebreaker, because if Ohio State beats Michigan State and then Michigan beats Ohio State, then they're all Ohio State would be out of it. But
yeah, and Michigan State would have 2 losses. If Michigan State loses again, then Michigan would still only have 1 loss if they run the table. So in theory, they still hold their destiny in their own hands, but they still need a little bit of help. I don't think they stay there. That's just my opinion.
What do you guys think about Cincinnati at 6? God, Bill.
To me, this is the biggest fraud on the board. How they're not in the top 4, I don't understand. Cottrell touched on this a little bit a minute ago. 6 years ago, all the non-Power 5 teams were told, BCS is over, you guys are going to have a shot. Then you had the UCF undefeated year, they got no respect. You had the Houston, I think Houston ended up losing once, but Houston was, I think, 10 or 11-0. They wouldn't put them in the top 4. Then after that, then it became, well, you got to change your schedules. You got to schedule tougher opponents. So Cincinnati went out and scheduled Notre Dame on the road and Indiana on the road back-to-back weeks. Can't help that Indiana's fallen on their face this year. You can't penalize the kids at Cincinnati for that. They went out and scheduled a Big Ten opponent and then scheduled the biggest independent team in the country. Beat them both of them on the road back-to-back weeks. Now that on top of that, now they're being told that's
tempo in between, but you're right.
Yeah, but now they're being told again that's not enough. Now it's not enough. So
what, they only beat Tulane by 20?
So they don't say, oh, you beat the number 10 team and pretty much dominated them on their home field.
That game was never in doubt.
It wasn't. You beat Indiana. It wasn't.
You thought it was in doubt?
I'm not going to say in doubt, but it was definitely tight down the stretch. They pulled away late, but it was definitely a tight game. Like, they were on upset watch.
I watched every second of that game, and I never got that weird feeling like Notre Dame was going to win that game ever. That's just me personally, but I get what you're saying.
I see where the
it was 17-0.
I'm thinking the
17-0, and then Notre Dame got it to 17-13, and then a minute and a half later, Cincinnati scored to go up double digits again, and then won the game that way.
I think they went out and made their schedule tougher, beat teams, and then, like you said, now they're going to be like, oh, well, now you should have beat Tulane by 30, you only beat them by 18 or whatever it was. They're finding a reason to not put them there, and kind of like Cottrell said, I read an article about it today too. With these non-Power 5 teams, they move the goalpost every year. That's what they do. Like every year, like they say do this and you'll get in. They go and do it, and now they're like, well, now you got to jump over this hurdle too. It's just BS. It's BS. They don't want to put them there. I mean, if you watch the Cincinnati Georgia game last year, I don't want to hear any of the BS. Georgia had nothing to play for. Blah blah blah. They were in that game. They're going to be competitive. They're going to be no less competitive if you put them up against Alabama or Michigan State or whoever ends up in that 2-3 game, wherever you put them. Oregon. They're going to be no less competitive than Notre Dame was last year against Clemson. That was embarrassing to watch. They're not going to be worse than that.
Question for you.
Give them their goddamn shot.
Question for you. Cincinnati and Oregon play on a neutral field. Who wins?
Is Oregon healthy?
Yeah, everybody.
Well, they're not healthy right now, though.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Will they be healthy by the playoff?
No, CJ Riddell's out for the season.
Okay.
CJ didn't get back, but everybody else.
This Oregon team versus Cincinnati on neutral field.
I'll tell you this.
Probably like -4.5 in that game.
I'm asking who you think wins the game. I don't care what the spread is.
I'm just saying I think his point is it's a close game.
Yeah.
And I could see Cincinnati win that game. I could see Oregon win the game. My point is they're going to be
I'd pick Cincinnati.
They're going to be in the game. That's my point. They're not going to get embarrassed. I'm telling
Alex
you,
Elmore is shockingly picked Oregon.
Listen, I mean, that's a squad. It's a squad. It's also one of those things, again, and me and you've talked about it like at length. None of those Power 5 schools want to get put on that stage and become and get beat by Boise State.
Yeah, no, that Boise State
No one
Oklahoma
wants
game
it.
is still talked about today.
Yeah, it's one of the best games ever.
Ever.
Nobody wants to get run into the Boise State thing. That's what it is.
The crazy thing too is that like Cincinnati has the opportunity. Well, later in the year they're going to play SMU, and like for them to just not have SMU in the top 25 and they're 7-1 right now, like that's just crazy. So that's like adding insult to injury.
SMU and Houston are both not in there.
Yep.
Which is crazy because if they're both in the top 25, like they should be, now Cincinnati not only has beaten Notre Dame, which is number 10, which is probably non-conference wise, it's probably the second or third best win that there is this year so far.
Well, you can't say non-conference wise.
No, but that matters because like Oregon's above Ohio State because of that win. That's why they're there. Like that is the best non-conference win that anybody has in the country.
My biggest argument with this whole thing is when you get to the top. Michigan State's 3, Alabama's 2, Georgia's 1. Alabama should not be 2. And to me, that's such SEC bias. And I get every year the SEC team is normally the best team or the second best team. They're always playing national championship. It's Alabama or LSU or Alabama or LSU or whoever. They're playing Clemson. They're playing Ohio State. But there's always one in the national championship.
Yeah.
The issue I have, though, is the SEC has played the Big Ten and lost. Auburn, number 13, played Penn State, who's not ranked, and lost. I can't say a one-loss Bama team's better than an undefeated Michigan State team. I can't say a one-loss Bama team's better than an undefeated Oklahoma team. Yes, if they played on a neutral field, Alabama would probably win. They have more 5-star kids. But if you want to talk about losses that don't look good or wins that don't look good, they played at Florida and almost got beat. It's 31-29. That's what the final score was.
If Florida had an experienced quarterback in that game, Florida wins that game.
They had a coach that knew what to call. I mean, I don't know what the 2-point conversion call was, but I mean, that just goes to show like, and even like Georgia played Florida and we saw what they did with them. Like it was somewhat close. Georgia flipped the switch on defense. It was 17-0 before you know. It's literally 0-0. Next thing you know, it's 17-0.
Yep.
So
Georgia's
able to flip a switch, turn it on against teams like that. Bama struggled, and then you have the loss against Texas A&M, which I get it. It's a tough game.
I'm not kidding with you. It was 3 with 3 minutes and 38 seconds left in the first half.
Yep.
At halftime, it was 24-3.
Yep.
Literally blink of an eye. 17.
And it was all defense.
Yep.
It was all like pick, touchdown, pick, touchdown, pick 6. That's it. Game's over. Don't even show up for the second half. You're down 24-3 to Georgia. You ain't winning.
And then I'd
love to see a team do that. Come back from 21.
The other thing too is that
versus that defense.
Obviously, I wouldn't say splitting hairs here, but Michigan State just beat the number 7 team in the country. That's better than any win that Bama has this year. So I don't get how you can justify
What's
having
Bama's
them
best
ahead
one?
of Bama.
Help
Ole
me out.
Miss.
That honestly, that was I literally have it written out. Like
in Bama,
what are that's what I mean. Like what are we propping up Alabama on this year? Like their best win is Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Florida stinks in Bama. Florida stinks.
Yep.
They're 4-4.
Didn't Auburn just beat Ole Miss?
And they got smacked at Texas A&M.
Auburn sure did.
So Auburn just beat Ole Miss.
Yes.
And Penn State beat Auburn.
Yeah. You're not wrong this year.
What am I like? Am I losing something?
I think Georgia.
They should not be 2.
I think Georgia. You have to.
We all agree there.
Yeah. I think you have to exclude Georgia with the SEC just because I don't think anybody can make any argument there. Just by far the best.
I know you thought of this. Give me your top 6.
I will go. I have Georgia.
Yes, agreed. I'm going to go with you.
I'll go Georgia.
Yes.
Michigan State.
No.
Yes, I agree so far.
At that point, I would go Cincinnati, and then I'd probably leave Oregon there.
So you don't have Oklahoma in your top 4?
No.
I do. I have Oklahoma 2.
Oof.
I do.
I just don't. I don't get that. Like how? Like so you're. If we're using the stupid neutral field thing, I mean, I just don't know how you like with they have no ranked wins. Like I just don't know how you're jumping all those people.
I would pay. So no, I don't believe in his rankings.
That's fine, but you still have to justify why you're putting them there.
I will. If Oklahoma played Michigan State to me, on a neutral field tomorrow, I have no problem betting on Oklahoma. None. Zero issue whatsoever.
Kenneth Walker might win the Heisman off of that game.
Yep. I mean, we know. I mean, we joke about it. I mean, Oklahoma's defense is terrible. I mean, I don't know. Like, Michigan State's going to put points up in that game.
Seeing what Texas was able to do with,
yeah,
I don't know. I
know you want to move Oklahoma up again, and again, I don't think 8 is proper for them. I know that every
Georgia, Oklahoma, Michigan State, Cincinnati, and with that 4, I go all 4 teams that are undefeated, and 3 are in a Power 5 conference, which is why I had Cincinnati 4.
Yeah, I mean, I would be right there with you. I'd go. I mean, we'd be splitting hairs. Georgia, Michigan State, Oklahoma, Cincinnati.
That's fair. I don't care. 2, 3, they're going to play each other anyway.
Exactly.
So my point being is Power 5 undefeated, Power 5 undefeated, Power 5 undefeated, next best team undefeated.
The crazy thing, too, is that we get a rematch from last year. Like, that's – I know it's not, like, the greatest thing in the world, but you get Georgia, Cincinnati.
Hell
like,
yeah.
You get a team that's hungry, not only because they're in the college football playoff, but, like, this is the team that beat us last year.
And then my 5 and 6 are Oregon, Bama.
You have Ohio State 7.
7, yes, 100%. That's exactly what I have them.
Oregon ahead of Bama?
Yes.
Oregon has a better win.
Correct.
They do.
I thought this through.
I think the good thing is I don't see how Alabama's going to beat Georgia. I don't.
I do.
I do.
I don't.
You know how they're going to beat Georgia if they do? I think
I'll tell you
Georgia
right
will win.
I'm telling you right now, if Alabama wins that game, like something shady going on.
I know exactly what you got to do. You don't turn the ball over against Georgia and give them the ball with short field position. It's essentially the same blueprint that you have against Iowa. Obviously, Georgia.
I said the same thing.
Georgia has an offense that's better than
miles
Iowa.
Ahead of Iowa.
It is.
They are. I agree.
But if you make them drive the field 80 yards, 9 possessions out of the game, you're going to put yourself in a position to succeed, especially with an offense like Bama who can put up points. They have two Heisman candidates with their quarterback and their running back. Like, they have the receivers with Mechie and Jamison Williams that can, make plays against 5-star athletes. Like, Bama has the talent to do it. They just can't shoot themselves in the foot. And so it's credit to Georgia's defense, but it's also teams just turning the ball over.
This year that they are nowhere near as efficient as they were the last 2 years.
Oh no,
agreed.
Definitely not.
Agreed. And I really feel like you're short selling Georgia. Like,
No,
I feel like let me finish. Iowa. I feel like Iowa's like an opportunistic team. Georgia forces you into shit.
I agree.
Like, their front four is going to make Bryce Young throw the ball before he wants to.
I don't know what their best set is. Is it the front 4? Is it their middle 3? Or is it their back 4?
All 3 of their linebackers are going to play NFL football.
It's probably their D-line just because.
You said all 3 of their linebackers. You said their D-line. I've had people tell me their secondary is the best they've ever seen.
I probably got 4.
They have 9 5-star recruits on defense.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
It's nuts.
Yo, and they don't have a player right now projected to go in the top 15.
Well, the tackle, Jordan
21. The last thing I've seen.
Jordan Davis, I think his name is.
Their D-end is unbelievable, bro. They got a linebacker that's projected to go in the first round. But they're like a no. I can't say like they're a no-name defense like Miami Dolphins. Mm-hmm. I can't say they're that. But they're that way. You can take one piece out of that defense. The defense is still really good.
Yep.
And the good thing is if Georgia beats Alabama, this is a moot point because Alabama's out.
That would be great.
It might not be.
There's no way they put them in too low. Yeah, I guess it would depend on what happens. If here, for instance, Oklahoma runs the table, wins the Big 12,
correct?
They're in. You'd have Georgia sitting there with an SEC championship, undefeated at 13-0. Oklahoma would be the same thing. They are both locked in. If Ohio State,
I want to finish my Georgia Bama point.
Go ahead.
And then we'll get to that. I promise. Georgia Bama. I agree with what Cottrell said. I think Georgia wins the game. I think they're the better team. But here's my point. Ready? It's no argument in the entire world who's got the best defense in the country. Right? Number 1 in the country. Not close.
Yep.
Like 1, and then there's probably the next one's like 4. Like, just skip 2 and 3 because
right.
Georgia's that much better. Is Georgia a top 10 offense?
They're giving up 7 points a game.
Is Georgia a top 10 offense?
No.
In a whole country?
They don't have to be.
I understand that. But if they're not a top 10 offense, is Bama a top 10 defense?
No.
I think they are.
Not this year.
7,
They're not.
8, 6, right around there. I don't care what their ranking is. I'm talking
Well,
about
the
like what
rankings
I'm
matter.
watching.
The numbers matter. Like
fair.
that's.
I mean, yeah, but you're gonna like
But you're gonna run into like a team that
smaller conference that's
Yeah.
locking down
correct.
nobodies essentially.
They play 3 nobodies every year to evaluate.
I get it. I get it.
Inflate the numbers. I mean, it's the same thing.
I'm with you, but I think that do
Do you think Bama's a top 10 defense in the country?
Yeah.
Okay.
not this
So
year.
my argument would be if Bama can slow down Georgia, keep them under 28 points, I think Bryce Young can get Bama to 28. I don't think it's going to happen. They can't turn the ball over.
Yep.
And Bryce Young's got to get them to 28.
I think that's possible too. Like I think that's like
100% possible.
Like I think that's like 28. I think that might be like the magic number because I don't know if Georgia can score 28 points without having either a turnover that puts them in the red zone or just scoring points off of the turnover itself.
They have 2 quarterbacks that probably will never play down in the NFL.
Yeah, I probably float around rosters 2, 3.
They don't have elite running backs. They don't have elite wide receivers. They're just not elite on offense. Now, the thing that I love about Georgia, and the thing that is, man, they're suffocating, man. They play on the other side of the football, and I can't see them playing a game versus Bama without turning them over.
Bama's 13th.
Okay, but who's top 10?
Wisconsin's 1. Georgia's 2.
Wisconsin's 1?
Total defense, yeah.
Okay, that's my point.
Let's see. Air Force is 3.
Yeah.
Houston 4. Iowa State 5. Cincinnati 6. Oklahoma State 7. UTEP 8. Iowa 9. Liberty 10. Minnesota. San Diego State. Alabama. Colorado State. Michigan's 15th. It's top 15.
So I would think if you just put all those defenses together and we're just like, all right, I don't think you're picking UTEP over Bama.
No, but it's still relative though. I mean,
I get that. My point being is when I say they're a top 10 defense, looking at them just
even if you want to just move it down to top 15, like
fair,
just to have it just be accurate. Top 15 defense going up against that Georgia offense. I think Georgia's offense would struggle. And granted, I'm with you guys. Like I think Georgia would win that game, but I think it's tight. And if Bama could hit that magic number of 28, I definitely would say Bama wins that game if they score 28 points.
Last
I disagree.
Give me your 6.
Georgia.
Then we got to do picks.
Georgia, Michigan State, Oklahoma, Cincinnati.
5 and 6.
Alabama, Oregon.
Respect. That's me proverbially taking my hat off.
I mean, I've been on the Oregon over Ohio State until Ohio State gets some better wins, and Penn State's a quality win, but until they get some better wins, I'm not going to put them ahead of Oregon.
We got to get in Pickem. Any other things on the rankings you want to add, Bill? I know you're talking about something. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we're just like.
No, I mean, again, a lot of it's going to sort itself out. We were getting into the Alabama thing. Alabama has no shot of getting in with 2 losses. Unless, like, mayhem happens in front of it.
Okay, so conceivably, let me ask you a quick question.
Yep.
Can you conceivably see Michigan State losing a game?
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
If they lose, my point with that is if they lose 2, that means either Ohio State or Michigan are sitting there with 1 loss.
So Ohio State could beat Michigan State?
Yeah.
And Penn State beat Michigan State? In Penn State, it's in Happy Valley, I think, right?
I think so. With that defense, yeah, I think so.
Okay, so that's 2. Could Michigan beat Ohio State?
Possible.
Okay. So if all those things happen,
then Michigan State's a 1-loss team in the conference championship.
Michigan State would have 2 losses.
I mean, not Michigan State, Michigan.
So a 1-loss Michigan versus Michigan State. Oregon could lose again, right? They're not like locked in. They're going undefeated.
Yeah, but that's a lot of help, though.
No, I'm
saying
saying it's possible.
If Michigan is a Big 12 champion, 1 loss, they're in. If we're assuming Oklahoma is going to move up and they go undefeated, they're in. You already have Georgia sitting there.
We can't assume Oklahoma.
But even if Oklahoma doesn't, I think a 1-loss Oklahoma would get in. A 1-loss Oklahoma that's a conference champion would get in over Bama.
That's not what this is telling you.
Yes, it is.
But this is before. This is before. This is before they play Baylor, Oklahoma State, and Iowa State.
24, they lose 27-24 to Georgia on a walk-off field goal, and they have 2 losses, and Oklahoma loses to Iowa State and still wins the Big 12.
Yeah, but if
that
means they beat Oklahoma State, and that means they beat Baylor. So I don't think they will put Bama in over Oklahoma, and then that means they also won their conference championship. So they'd roll off 3 straight with their backup quarterback, I don't know how they would.
And they're
put
going
Bama
to play. They're most likely going to play either Baylor or Oklahoma State again in the Big 12 championship game. So you're literally going to go ranked win. Like they're going to move above. I don't think there's and then again, you should still have Cincinnati sitting there undefeated. So
unless they slip to SMU somehow.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't see any way you could, if you put them in with 2 losses, it's going to be anarchy.
Dante, I couldn't agree with you more. The committee's giving Bama too much credit. We got to get into Pickem because then we got NFL and we got a lot more to go. Pickem segment for NCAA Cottrell, College Cottrell. Give me your first.
All right, so I'm loving the 2.5 this week, both ways. Michigan State, first game, Michigan State minus 2.5 at Purdue. It's definitely a tricky game, but I think that the Sparty, they just know what they got to do to keep this season on the tracks, and I think they cover that 2.5 at Purdue. I like Wake Forest plus 2.5 at North Carolina. This is a game that I don't think is as tricky. I feel like Sam Howell and North Carolina offenses, they're decent. Obviously, they haven't performed what we thought they could, but Wake Forest is another team. They know what they got to do. They see that the committee is giving them their respect. They got to go in there and win that game. My super dog for the week, LSU plus 28.5 at Alabama. Nothing special about LSU this year. They aren't great, but I really feel like they're coming off of this bye week, and this is going to be their last battle against Alabama with Ed Orgeron as their coach. So I think they're going to go in there, give Bama everything they got, probably lose by 22, but I think they cover that 28.5.
I like it. I like it a lot. Charlie.
I also have Wake
Spin
Forest.
me.
I also have Wake Forest plus 2.5 at UNC. I know it's in UNC. I think people are relying on that a little bit too much, in my opinion. I think Wake Forest is just a better football team. It's going to be a shootout. If the over-under was 100, I would take the over. I think those teams are going to go up and down the field. But I just think Wake Forest has a better offense than UNC does. As good as Sam Howell is, they lost too many playmakers around them. I think that'll be an exciting game to watch. If you like scoring, watch that game. But I think Wake Forest gets it done on the road. I have Baylor minus 6.5 at TCU. I think it's a big game for Baylor. TCU's in a bunch of disarray. Gary Patterson just stepped away from the program pretty much midweek. Just decided, they were going to apparently they were going to make a move at the end of the year, and he said, if that's what you're going to do, then I'm just done. Like,
hell yeah, I respect that.
Which is crazy. I mean, because that guy's literally built that program.
Agreed.
So I got Baylor minus 6.5 on the road against TCU. Then my super dog, just for sheer craziness, I was down between LSU and the Alabama game or this game. I'm taking Missouri plus 39.5 versus Georgia. I think Georgia's all the capability in the world to beat them by like 55 points. I do. I just think at this time of the year, keeping people fresh, making sure people do not get hurt. I think if they're up huge, come like the third quarter, which they probably will be, I think they're going to pull everybody and make sure everybody stays healthy. So I'm praying for a backdoor cover there, but that's what I'm going with.
I'm really simple this week. 2 big games, and then my super dog's something a little bit out there. At Michigan State, I'm agreeing with you. Minus 3 or 2.5, whatever you want to get it at. Hopefully you get it at 2.5. I like it a lot better there. I have Texas A&M minus 4.5 at home versus Auburn. I like them a lot this week. I think they'll win the game by 14. My super dog this week is Middle Tennessee State plus 16.5 at Western Kentucky. I'll take Middle Tennessee State plus 6. I take the super dog shit really seriously. I've hit like 5 out of the last 6. I'm crushing these super dogs.
It's just funny that
including Penn State last week.
Everybody who've been on all season, whether it's the other way with Missouri not for Missouri, just being on Georgia, 39.5 is nuts, and
40 is just a
could
huge
happen.
number, man.
Do you know
Plus
why I
super
think
dog Middle Tennessee State? They're always one of ours every week.
Do you know why? I'll tell you why I don't like that one he picked with the Georgia game. I pick against Vanderbilt every friggin' time I get a chance to. First time I've lost against Vanderbilt all year was Missouri. If Missouri's that bad to not cover versus Vanderbilt and they got to go play at Georgia, Jesus, good luck. Good luck. That's our Pick'em segment for the week, though. Get into some NFL action. National Football League. I mean, we got to talk about Mike White. Can we at least talk about that for a second?
Hey, Mike White, that's my hero.
Why? Tell us why.
Knocked out like 70% of my survivor pool.
Yeah, he did.
That's my guy.
I held on for dear life for Kansas City. I'm still
glad,
in.
I'm glad I talked you out of the Bengals pick because I know you were teetering there.
I was back and forth.
I'm glad we talked.
I didn't like either one of them.
I mean, I didn't either, but I was like, backup
Kansas City's
quarterbacks
playing like shit.
Backup quarterbacks, no film, just too tricky for me. You just don't know what you're gonna get.
Knocked my sister out of hers. I knew that.
What was your favorite game this past week?
Favorite game this past week? It was it was the two that I caught late. So I would go with Bengals Jets or Titans Colts. Both of them were great games and players made plays. Like that's what I like to see.
Fuck the Titans Colts, dude. I don't want to bring that shit up in my presence.
I get it from your perspective, but as a fan with nothing in it, I like the football game.
Chow, your favorite game this week?
Those were both really good games actually.
I have one I love.
I think
I was all on top of it too. I should have made it one of my picks. Such an idiot. I made the other part of my pick, the under.
Yep.
You know what game I'm talking about.
Yep. The Patriots-Chargers game was a really good game.
Very good game. A lot of people didn't realize that game. The reason I stay away from it, everybody's picking the Chargers. Last year, the Patriots went in there with Justin Herbert, 45-0.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm like, I know that it's not going to be the same thing, obviously, but Bill Belichick knows something with Justin Herbert.
He does. I mean, that's definitely evident after last week. And Mac's playing well. I mean, it's Bill. I don't think the team has any business probably being where they are right now. I mean, they're pushing for a playoff spot, so it'll be interesting.
Bill Belichick is a great football coach.
He is.
He's got a tough task this week. Very tough task.
Where are they at this week?
I'll talk about. We'll get into it. I'll feed you, baby bird.
Go ahead, get into it. But for the people who don't know,
I tell you,
your game.
Yeah, I was all over New Orleans plus 4.5, and I don't know why. For whatever reason, I just took the under because in my head, I knew that New Orleans defense just has. Tom Brady's 1-3 versus New Orleans. His lone win versus New Orleans since he's been in Tampa was the playoff game.
Yep.
And that playoff game, I'm not saying I don't give Tom Brady the credit he deserves in that playoff game, but that was really on Drew Brees throwing 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not trying to be a smartass. You could tell his arm was falling off in that game. For whatever reason, that Saints defense at home versus anyone, they're just deadly, dude. They're really, really good defense. On the road, they travel decent, but at home, oof. I mean, you remember, Aaron Rodgers has 1 loss. I know it wasn't at New Orleans, but it was at Jacksonville, which Aaron Rodgers struggles at too also. And that New Orleans defense really shut them down too. That NOLA defense and Trevor Siemian beating Tampa Tom, got to give him all the credit in the world, man. I seen that coming a mile away. I just didn't think Siemian would do it. I actually watched the Jameis Winston injury, and I didn't think it was that bad.
I didn't either.
Because I hobbled off, no big deal. Torn ACL.
Yeah.
Like, what?
They said he felt it pop on the field, so
that's
they
what
knew.
They said that's why he was so distraught looking off because right when they got to him, they said he told the trainers he tore his ACL.
Oh, Jesus, that sucks. So one of our big games that we were going to talk about this week was Green Bay going into Kansas City. It was a 1-point spread, although Kansas City's only 4-4. Packers are 7-1. You still got Mahomes, Rodgers, and just yesterday we got the wind kicked right out of us. So I'm going to use this time to at least ask you guys what you think about Aaron Rodgers and his I'm vaccinated. No, I'm not. I'm immunized, what he said. I'm immunized. But all year he's been going around and following the COVID protocols inside the building without cameras there. They knew about it, but it was his personal choice to hide it. And he used the word immunized, which leads everyone to believe vaccinated. What are your thoughts? I know Bill's going to trash him. I don't need to wait there. I figured I'd get your thoughts first, then we'll go to Bill.
I mean, it's at this point, I feel like we've trashed so many athletes on not getting the vaccine, whether it's, whether you agree with the vaccine or not. I just feel like in the media, we've seen just all the athletes who haven't been vaccinated yet. We've just seen them get trashed. And so from that perspective, I understand why he didn't want that just out in the media. As long as he was following all the protocols, I really don't have a problem too much with it. If it wasn't like he was being deceitful to his own team or they didn't know about it, I'm glad that they knew about it, so that they had a handle on just how to make sure everything could work out for him. And if you're following procedures, if you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your in my opinion, that's your own thing. I don't want to get too far into that, but yeah, I mean, following protocols, I have nothing to say to you. I have no issues with it.
Bill, let me hear your thoughts before you.
Well, the only thing I'm going to say with that is there's conflicting reports about that. I think it's obviously Green Bay knew about it.
Yes, they did.
I think just like pretty
What's
much.
the conflicting report?
There's a lot of people are saying he was not following protocols. He definitely wasn't following protocol on the sidelines. So there's been plenty of reports that have come out that saying he was, and other people they've interviewed saying talk to him all the time.
I don't think there is protocols on NFL game day sidelines.
If you're not vaccinated, they're supposed to be.
I don't think there is. I think that
there
they
is.
get
There's people who wear masks every week, dude. If they're not vaccinated, if they're staff.
Well, I mean, I know Carson's not vaccinated, and he doesn't wear a mask every time on the sideline.
And he probably should be.
Okay. I don't think there is game day because I think they test them like that morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm pretty sure if I'm not.
And they're supposed to get fined for stuff like this too. So if
Correct.
that's an even bigger thing. If Green Bay knows about it and he's walking around like their facility's not doing this, like you're supposed to get fined every single time you're seen in the facility without.
Shefty talked about that this afternoon. He's like the NFL was already looking at it, like, and that's going to happen. Like stuff's going to come down now because apparently even on Green Bay's end, they led the NFL to believe that he was vaccinated. It's whatever. It's par for the course for him, man. I mean, it's everything Aaron Rodgers does is about Aaron Rodgers. If you didn't want to get vaccinated, that's fine. It's his choice. Like again, I'm not going to beat down the bush with that thing.
I'm with you there.
But if you're going to mislead people or you're going to play that whole game and then this happens, like yeah, you're going to have egg on your face, dude. Like it's
the comment is the biggest thing to me is like when someone says I'm immunized.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to get vaccinated, I mean, there's plenty of guys in the NFL said I'm not going to get vaccinated.
Well, how are you immunized if you're not vaccinated?
Just say I don't.
That's a lie, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah,
I mean, unless he's just going off the premise that he had COVID already and he's.
But that's.
I'm just saying, like, if that's what he's thinking, I'm not saying. Look, I'm not agreeing with it, but
again,
I'm just saying, like,
if
that's the road he wants to go down, then
that's him thinking he's smarter than everybody else. That's typical Aaron Rodgers thing, dude. That's him and his ego. I agree with Gene. If you're asked that question and you don't, and just say you're not vaccinated, then,
or just say I don't want to talk about it,
or that's fine
Carson's
too.
like that's my personal decision,
correct, and I'm fine with that too. Don't put it out there like you're good though, and then like be around your team, like be around all the coaches, and I'm sure there's people on the team that didn't know he's not vaccinated. I promise you, there's
spread
not.
happened. Looked like it's happened before him.
Yeah,
well,
and then
I mean, yeah,
you had a couple people out the wide receivers room.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And at that point, you almost feel like it's a matter of time. They spend so much time together.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of thing going on in the Packers organization, and it's going to cost them this week because I don't think Jordan Love can go into Kansas City and win that game. Just don't.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't think they are, but
I was
Kansas
so
City looks
fled to pick.
Kansas City looks so bad right now. I don't
know.
I don't know. I mean, Adams and Lazard are playing now, correct? Like they're clear, they're good to go.
Supposedly.
So
Adams is listed to play. I don't know about Lazard. He's not my fantasy team.
I don't think he's on anybody's fantasy team.
I mean, of all weeks to happen, obviously the best week would have been a bye week, but coming off you get 10 days to prepare. Obviously, you weren't preparing the whole 10 days with the mindset that Jordan Love was going to be your quarterback, but I think Jordan Love has got enough time to at least kind of play the part a little bit, and he had the luxury of going up against a Chiefs team who couldn't stop anybody. I mean, Daniel Jones out. I mean, he's Daniel Jones, interceptions, fumbles, whatever. But I mean, he looked decent enough to move. He looked good enough to move the ball against the Chiefs, and had me and Gene sweating until about midnight, on Monday. So
way too long. I try getting the Chiefs out of the way. I'm like, they're playing the Giants at home. Half their receiving core's out.
Yeah. But
Saquon's out.
Sure enough, Danny moved the ball. So, I mean, I think Jordan Love can be successful. I'm not saying he goes into Kansas City and wins, but I think if you're going to lose Aaron Rodgers any week, a 10-day week against the real and Chiefs team isn't the worst thing in the world.
I agree. I mean, it's no secret that during the week, like he doesn't take a normal starter share of reps and everything else. Like he rests his arm. So I mean, Jordan Love's getting a lot of reps anyway, and now he's just like you said, he's gonna be involved in the game plan. And he's gonna take every rep he can take between now and Sunday. So Kansas City's not stopping anybody really. So I mean, we'll see. I think it's still probably
It's still a hostile environment to walk into for your first NFL.
It is. Going into Arrowhead in your first game is not ideal.
The nice thing, though, for him is that, and I get it, he hasn't played, but he's not a rookie, so he knows the Packers offense. He should know, concepts, things like that, knows what reads to get off of, what reads to get on. So, and stuff's going to be open. And I don't think this Chiefs team is going to, I know they just traded for Melvin Ingram, but I don't think they're going to be on top of him, just smothering him. So stuff's going to get open. If he trusts himself, trusts the process, I think Matt LaFleur is going to put him in a position to be successful.
Sidebar, I know we're talking about football. The Sixers won again tonight.
Yeah, no Toby.
Without Toby.
No Danny Green, and Ben's still not playing.
You said Danny. I'm so proud of you.
You're welcome.
I'm so proud of you. But the other game that we were going to talk about this week kind of got beat up, so that gives us an opportunity to talk about the Derrick Henry injury. Tennessee Titans are going to play at the Rams. Von Miller and then Derrick Henry. What are your thoughts on both? I don't know, fun question. It's an easy question, never mind, dumb question, but I'm still asking it. What means more, losing Derrick Henry, adding Von Miller?
Losing Derrick Henry.
Yes, I don't know why I said it. Derrick Henry, somebody said that this week. I think it was Rex Ryan. Derrick Henry is the single most important player on any football team in the NFL, is what he said.
They go as he goes.
I think you could probably make an argument for a couple other players, but
all the other ones are going to be quarterbacks.
The answer's
they're going to be
Lamar,
quarterbacks.
but I got it.
I think you could say Mahomes, and I think you could probably say
the answer is Lamar. Take Lamar off that Baltimore Ravens team, they might flip-flop their schedule. They're
what's Kansas City without Mahomes?
The easy answer is you go with the quarterbacks. You see it right now in Seattle with Russ being gone. You could go with
not a big Geno guy.
Geno Smith, come on, bro.
Clearly, but yeah, Derrick Henry, he goes. That team goes as he goes, and without him, they are going to struggle. You don't have to put 8 in the box anymore. You can put 5 in the box and be all right. McNichols, go ahead, try and beat us. Whatever.
Because Peterson won't be fully ready to take a full load this week.
And even if he
and
was,
McNichols is a scat back.
Yeah, and even if Peterson was ready, he's not going to be Derrick Henry.
McNichols isn't Derrick Henry?
No, Peterson's not Derrick Henry.
Peterson, his prime might have been, not Peterson.
Prime, absolutely.
Yeah, prime. You don't miss a beat.
No, not at all.
But
that's going to be a whitewash Sunday night.
I'm interested to see how teams start playing the Rams offensive, what they do to scheme up their offensive line against their D line.
In my head, I was thinking I'm gonna take the over in that game because Tennessee's gonna have to throw the ball, right? And then I thought to myself, I'm like, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey. I am not doing that.
Yeah,
that's why I think Julio is. I don't know if he's playing or not. I think he's probably still questionable. But Ramsey's probably going to travel with AJ. So if he does,
if Julio plays. This might be a Julio week for fantasy owners.
If you have Julio and he's healthy, this probably
he's not healthy though. He's never going to be healthy ever again.
Well, he still plays 100% when he full speed when he's 80%. So if you get that Julio, you're fine. I just don't know where he is. Again, I don't know.
It's going to be a whitewash.
Who do you double? Obviously you double Aaron Donald, but the games that Von has it going, or you have a bad left or right tackle, what are you going to do?
Yo, full shout out Joseph Jeffers. You are my guy, my friend. Resident Titans fan. Joseph Jeffers, he said, I don't think the Titans were going to win with Henry. I think they had a better chance. I'm not saying they were going to, because you can run the ball versus the Rams. That's the way you beat them. Right. They're pass rushers. They're not first of all, Aaron Donald's amazing. I'm not going to call him just a pass rusher, but the rest of their defensive line are pass rushers. Yep. Even Von Miller, not trying to be a smartass. Von Miller's job is to sack the quarterback.
He's a pass rusher.
So, Von is injured also, might not play this weekend. Okay, that doesn't matter. Von Miller, Derrick Henry, who's a bigger?
Honestly, if I was the Rams, I'd be like, you know what, Von, you're not playing. We might,
let's get him 100% healthy.
We might not see you until week 15.
Bro, Stafford's going to throw for 350 and 4 touchdowns versus that Tennessee defense.
It's going to get ugly for sure.
Yeah, if you're playing against Stafford this week in fantasy, it's probably not going to be good.
The other thing, too, is that they're probably going to be that Rams offense is probably going to be on the field a lot, too. So this might even be a big Henderson game just because, it's going to be 28
They also got the rest
before you can blink.
They also got the rest the whole second half last week. So the Rams are a little rested.
It's about to get ugly.
Guarantee you Cooper Kupp will probably score again.
Probably. All right, so let's get into our Pick'em segment. You go first this time.
Well, we were just talking about it. I have the Rams minus 7.5 versus Tennessee.
That's a good pick.
I think they win the game by double digits. I don't think Tennessee is going to be able to sustain really any drives without a running game. Derrick Henry is just, we've talked about it so many times on this show. He's just different. The dude is incredible. And there's no way you're the same football team without him.
Sidebar, I want to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Start your pick over in a minute, but if you look up the top 5 running backs rushing in football, you will be amazed. Like, in your head, go, who are the top 5 running backs in football and rushing yards? And, like, write that list down, and you will be amazed at who's top 5. Like, number 1 is easy. It was Derrick Henry at 980 yards. Number 2 is Jonathan Taylor, 680 or something. Number 3 is Mark Ingram.
Like I said, I mean, you've had, I mean, McCaffrey's missed, 3 or 4 games. Dalvin Cook missed 2. I mean, Chubb's missed time. I mean, your normal guys that are up there have all missed time. Barkley's been out pretty much the whole year. So, yeah. I mean,
give me your pick again. I'm sorry.
I'm going Rams minus 7.5 versus Tennessee. To both of your points, I just think that Tennessee defense is going to be on that field way too much. And you give that offense that many shots to score points, they're going to score points. Second pick, I'm taking Arizona Cardinals minus 1 versus San Fran. It's pretty much a pick 'em. Arizona coming off a bye, going to be healthy, rested. I just don't think San Francisco is just a really weird team. They look good certain weeks, other weeks they don't. Chicago gave them a little bit of a scare last week with Justin Fields and pretty much no supporting cast. So I will take Arizona minus 1, and then I'm taking the Chargers minus 2.5 against Philly. I think they're going to come here and look better. This defense is definitely not the elite defense of New England, so I think Herbert gets back on track this weekend and scores a bunch of points. So I think they cover easily.
I would like the Eagles to have a lot better shot in that game if the Chargers won last week. They're coming off 2 losses. I don't know.
I agree.
Really hate that this week. Hey, by the way, speaking of that game,
Yep.
we're going to be down with Toxic Tailgate event coming up November 7th, this Sunday. You're going to see me, Cottrell, Bill, Birds Deep. You got maybe Supreme will be down there. Whole Toxic Radio group. Jamie might be hanging out with us for a little bit. You get to put a face in the name. Come down, hang out with us, Eagles Tailgate.
You might even get to throw a pie in Mike's face, right?
Oh, Mike, you're getting pied in the face?
Right, Mike?
Yes, he said yes. Hey, listen, he's already signed off on it. I'm bringing the pie. We'll be down there, and we're setting up around 10, 11 o'clock. I think we're going to have a couple shows with the audience from 12 to 2 o'clock. So come down, hang out with us, meet us. Let's hang out. We'll have some giveaways. Look at it. Mike's always ready. Toxic Tailgate. Free giveaways and fun. Live broadcast and music. I love it. Thank you, Mike. Cottrell, give me your NFL picks this week.
All right, so I'll start right off. I agree with Bill. Chargers-Eagles games. I like the Chargers minus 2.5, especially coming off that loss against the Patriots. I don't see the only thing that kind of worries me is I don't see why this line is as low as it is. Especially, I know the Eagles just came off a big win against the Lions, and I don't want to trash them too much on anything, but I just don't see this. I think the Chargers are going to be a playoff team, and I just think they scored a lot of points on that Eagles defense. My second game will be Cleveland plus 2.5 against Cincinnati, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. This isn't just a homer pick for me. I have no idea why the Browns are only 2.5-point dogs in this game. So that alone tells me that clearly Vegas knows something that I don't know. With all the dysfunction that's been going on in the organization the past couple of days, I don't know where they get 2.5 from, but give me Cleveland plus 2.5 off of Vegas knowing something that I don't. And then I like the over in the Packers-Chiefs game. Like I said, I think Jordan Love's going to be successful in that game, and I think the Chiefs are going to have to score with the Packers if they want to beat them. So I like that game being somewhere like 28-21, just barely squeaking by, but I do like the over on that one.
What's your first pick?
Chargers-Eagles.
The look-ahead line on that game, my only comment I wanted to make, I think I talked to you about this. I talked to you about this. The look-ahead line of that game was Chargers minus 3. So before last week's game, before the Chargers lost, and before the Eagles won in a blowout fashion, the look-ahead line was Chargers -3. That's shocking to me. So it wasn't based off the Eagles per half a point.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles, here's the point. I'm not picking this game because if I'm the head coach of the Eagles, I think I can have a way to win the game. And the way to win the game, the way to win the game is the 32nd ranked team against the run in football. It's the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yes, they are.
Last week, the Philadelphia Eagles decided, hey, our best running back's out. We're going to run the fucking ball finally. And they ran the ball. Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, they ran the ball. I want them to see him run the ball 40 times this week. I don't care what Lori wants, what Roseman wants, what the fans want. The fans want you to run. They want to win. Run the fucking ball. That's the way to beat them this week. I'm going to get my picks. Guys, by the way, I want to apologize to all listeners out there.
They're not going to do that.
No.
2 weeks in a row?
I agree. I want to apologize to all listeners out there. I have set a standard of 70% picking NFL. And I have been way, way below that standard this year. I'm 17-13, and most people will consider 17-13 on any book a good year. It's not for me. I'm very sick at that, and I work really hard at getting my picks. Last year, I finished 70% for the year. At one point this year, I was 11-2, and I'm 17-13 now. If that tells you how bad, yeah, I'm not a fan of my picks. So I got 3 good ones for you this week. I got the Colts -10 tomorrow night. Got an easy game to watch tomorrow night. The Colts defense is going to shut down Mike White. There's film on him. Colts offense a little pissed off this week after I lost to the Titans. I like the Colts in this one, 35-10. I have the under in the Bills-Jaguars game. When Buffalo plays bad teams, they don't score versus them. Look at Miami. Look at the Texans. They don't score versus them. I don't think Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars are really going to score much. So I don't think it can hit 50 unless they score. So I'll take the under in the Bills-Jaguars game. Monday Night Football action. I hate giving out Monday Night Football action. But I got an easy one for you guys. Easy. I love the under 40 in Steelers-Browns. Or Steelers-Bears. Love it. That game might be 12-6.
Score.
It might be 12. Dude, Justin Fields is not. They're not moving the ball. There's no way that Bears. And Justin Fields looks good. That offensive line stinks. That coach stinks. I'll take the under in that game. Under 40. And I mean, if you have a live line, like a line you can like press it down, take the under 34. I don't think it smells 34. So there's my picks this week. Colts -10, under 49, Bills Jags, under 40, Steelers Bears. That's Pick'em segment. Let's get into the World Series.
You.
Anything else NFL you want to get into?
No.
No.
Okay, so MLB World Series, the cheaters lost.
Yes.
But the Braves won.
I'm fine. I don't care.
I do.
I hate the Braves, but it's like it becomes that situation where it's anybody but Houston. That's where I was with it.
I gotta hear no. That's what they're saying, right?
Sure.
I hate, man. I hate I hate Houston almost as much as I hate Boston, but I hate Atlanta too.
I hate Atlanta because they're our divisional rival, but there was no part of me that was going to be able to handle Houston winning a World Series. Buster Olney kind of threw some shade at him today too, which was kind of funny. I wasn't expecting it.
I love it, Bugs. It's Buster.
Because, he brought up a good point. He's like they've been to 3 of the last 5 World Series, and the only one they won was the one they cheated. He's like something to consider, and I was like, damn, Buster, that's out of character for Buster.
But true baseball guys like Buster, true baseball guys hate that so much.
Oh yeah,
it's because
too much integrity it takes away from integrity in the game.
Correct.
It does.
Braves, Chiefs, and Redskins straight up stole the FSU chant. Makes me sick. Is there anywhere in the book that says who started that? Is that 100% started by Florida State? Because I feel like every fan base thinks they started the. He might be right. I don't know. I'm just asking.
Who's been around the longest? I feel like Florida State football has probably been around longer than maybe not. Braves been around a long time, man.
They were almost like the 1800s, right? The Boston Braves.
Yeah, but they were in Atlanta though.
Still the Braves, right?
Yeah, but I don't.
Who knows when they start the chant?
Right.
It's Chris Cargan said the Braves head coach beat his kid who is on the Astros staff. That's major bragging rights.
That is true.
But I wonder what they talk about on Thanksgiving.
I had to read that twice because the first time I read it, I thought he physically beat his kid.
No,
I wasn't like
that was Bobby Cox back in the day when he beat his wife. You're thinking of the wrong manager.
See, there we go. Shots fired. His love affair with Atlanta lasted what? One series, and then as soon as the game was over.
I don't know. I don't like them. I hate them. But
if it's them or Houston,
it's probably FSU to be honest. Braves didn't move to land until 1966. FSU football's been around way before that.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a good. I mean, that's something we could look
Dante
at.
Dante said yes, 1,000%. It's a fact.
Of course, Dante's going to say that.
If he says it with that much conviction, I'm with it.
Mm.
I'm with it.
He said Trevor Lawrence is going to stink with that much conviction.
I feel like the thing
he hasn't played great in the NFL.
Rookie.
I agree.
Peyton Manning threw 30 interceptions first year.
I agree.
The thing about the Braves winning the World Series that kind of, I'm not going to say surprised me the most, but their deadline deal for Soler, like who would have thought that move is the one that pays off how it did.
I mentioned it. I said it
wasn't just Soler either.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. But him winning MVP, clearly he was.
I said it was a very
big piece to that puzzle.
Very under the radar move. They had a couple of them. I didn't say it on that show. Like I didn't think he was going to go end up winning the World Series MVP, but I said they had a couple moves that that could help them, and they did. I mean, all those guys played great. And who would have thought they would have got there after losing, debatably the second or third best player in all of Major League Baseball.
Not to mention losing Charlie Morton.
That's when I thought it was in trouble, man. When that happened.
Did you rank him? What was his rank?
I said second or third.
Cool, just checking.
All right. 406. Soto hit that this year.
Did you keep that? Did you catch that?
For what?
I'm pretty sure that's where I had him this year.
You didn't have Acuna second.
I had him second.
Acuna fourth.
Okay, fourth.
But
Soto
Eddie Rosario. What?
I was just thinking. That's all.
I won't be doing this shit behind my back. Eddie Rosario is another huge pickup for Atlanta too. They revamped that, and it's Jocktober, so they revamped that entire outfield. I think that Atlanta deserves credit, and it's an early leader in the clubhouse for what we were wrong about for next year, because all three of us sat on this show after Acuna Jr. was out for the year and said they're done.
Yep,
all three of us did that. And listen, I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong, none, and we were wrong there. We were all wrong there.
I'm shocked because I originally picked them to win the division.
Can't stand the Braves, but they draft well. Make moves at the deadline that pay off, smart signings. Chris Cargan, that is a fact.
Yep. They have a very good front office. Always have. I mean, I think the cool thing, I was happy for Freddie Freeman. I hate the Braves, but Freddie Freeman's just one of those guys.
Plays the game right.
He plays the game right. He's a great guy. If you ever watch any of the segments where he's been mic'd up, if you haven't watched him, they mic'd him up during the All-Star game.
I was going to say, even the All-Star game.
The way he talks to people, like when they come to first base. I think a lot of people didn't realize what he went through at the beginning of the year too. He had his newborn, saw him for like 2 or 3 days, I think, and then tested positive for COVID. So he had to obviously, isolate himself from his baby, and then right after that, he had to go to spring training. So he saw his first newborn, his first child that he ever had. He didn't see for like 45 days, and then he struggled with coming back from COVID. And he had a really, for Freddie Freeman, he's one of the best hitters in the game. He had a very rough start to the year. And then middle of the summer, he just caught fire and hit an absolute nuke the other night, 460-some feet. So I'm happy for Freddie Freeman. He's a free agent. I don't think he leaves Atlanta, but God, I would love to see him in a Phillies uniform.
That ball still didn't land.
It hasn't. That thing was absolutely.
What, you mean you would take him out at first base over Reese?
I don't want to talk about Reese tonight. I'm
sure?
I'm in a good mood. I don't want to talk about Reese. Phillies news, though.
Shocked.
Phillies news. They did decline options on McCutcheon and Odubel today. So
That sounds like good news.
I think they're trying to bring Kutch back just on a lower.
Why?
On a lower number as a rotational guy. I think they'll try to bring him back as a lower number. And I guarantee you,
Batting cleanup for us the majority of fucking. How? How is that happening?
I think.
Why is he batting cleanup for us? Oh, I hate the. I'm dead serious when I say this. I'm not kidding. Not kidding. The fact that Ben Simmons is sent home and all that bullshit with them. The Sixers, right? The Flyers and Sixers are my two favorite organizations. The Eagles organization sucks. The Phillies organization sucks. The Sixers organization isn't much better. And then the Flyers organization's headed in the right direction. It's crazy because if you know me in real life, you know I'm an internal optimist. I am an optimist. Positive thinker. Positive. When it comes to my sports teams, no.
Well, I mean, that's part of being a Philly fan. Take the most positive person in the world, turn him into a pessimist. You root for these teams long enough. Yeah.
Pull up do me a favor. Pull up 2022 World Series odds.
Nope.
Why?
I'm just kidding. I got you.
He's like, nah, I'm not doing it.
He's got the laptop. He's the laptop guy.
It's gonna be a big year for free agency. I mean, I think the crazy thing in Houston, I mean, Dusty Baker sounds like he's not going back. Carlos Correa, I don't think any shot he's resigning there. That team's going to be different. You got Freddie Freeman, Carlos Correa. You got a bunch of big names that are going to be in free agency this year. So David Dombrowski better earn his money this year.
What do you want to know, Gene?
Show me top 5 teams.
Dodgers plus 550.
Okay.
Astros plus 700.
Okay.
Braves plus 900.
Okay.
Yankees plus 1,000.
Of course.
Chicago White Sox plus 1,200.
That's probably
So
fair.
the 1 and 5 are the only two, in my opinion, that are
I agree.
not overreactions.
Agreed. 100%. Houston is not going to be the same.
I think what they're
I think
banking on with the Yankees is they got to go out and sign.
if Houston somehow brings back Verlander and Correa, then that's a different story. I don't think either one of those things are going to happen. The Braves.
It's an overreaction.
I guess the Braves. I guess the Braves you could look at. I mean, I'd have to look at how many of those guys.
Acuna's not going to play till June.
Yeah, but if all those guys they traded for still have time left on their
So
contracts,
there's a free agent.
all right. So yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at that. I don't know the particulars of that. I mean, but some of those guys are probably coming back to start the year next year.
Yeah. So they earned themselves some money.
Yes, he did.
It's like, I felt like that was like a Carlos Beltran move.
He hit he had a bad year beginning of this year and last year. The year before that, he hit like 45 home runs. Like everybody forgets that in Kansas City. Like the big thing with Atlanta is going to be Freddie Freeman if they can keep him, because he's absolutely going to get paid.
We got 3 fights again in the UFC.
Do it.
We'll start with the fight that's now listed as that. Like now you can't be late. You can't be late to your party. You can't show up at 10:15.
That is like the chance to be the best fight of the night too. I just don't understand why you're moving that to first.
I don't agree with that either. If you didn't hear, UFC is kicking off UFC 268 with Gaethje versus Chandler. That's going to be their opening fight. It's their third main event, not third main event, but it's their third fight. It's normally be the one before the 2 championship fights, but they're trying a new strategy where they're kicking that fight off to start the night off really strong. All that's going to make me do is pay attention really strong to the first fight, then get some food, and then come back for the last 2.
Well, yeah, because you're going to have a great fight, blah, blah, and then you're going to go into...
I think it's blah. It's just, I'll watch the other fights like Marlon Vera, Frankie Edgar. I want to watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it. I'm just not going to be like excited about it. I look at the end, like you get through like the prelims and the first couple, and then you just know you're going banger, 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 and now we're not doing that.
Well, the problem, I guess, so I just saw Luke Rockhold dropped out. So
that's not just.
I don't know why that changes anything for them though.
Don't feel the. I don't know.
Yeah, so you take like one of your huge that's if there wasn't 2 title fights on this, like that's a co-main event on any pay-per-view, that fight.
100%.
That's what I mean. Like it's dumb. I mean, it's no sense.
It's a
to
very
me.
good fight.
They didn't find a replacement for it. They just dropped the fight.
No, they had 5 still. They had 5.
No, they dropped that fight though.
No. Who's the 5th fight I'm missing? I said 4 of them already. The three main ones.
Frankie Edgar and
Frankie Edgar. I said that one. What's the other
That's
one?
4.
There's a 5th
this
one.
was the 5th one.
No, there's a 5th one now. 100%.
There's got to be 2 between
There's a 5th one. 100%.
Gaethje and Chandler, and then Rose and.
It's I forget the name. I'm losing my mind right
I'm
now.
looking it up now.
I appreciate you. I I'll start off with Gaethje Chandler, and he'll write that fight out. But you guys probably think I'm on Chandler, and because I've been on him since he's came from Bellator, and I like Chandler. I think he's a very good fighter.
I know you're a big Gaethje guy too.
I'm not a big either guy. What I am is when I see like something like when I seen Chandler versus Hooker, I was like, people are undervaluing the shit out of Chandler. He's better than Hooker. And I told many people I knew to bet on Chandler, and he won. I never really liked that, Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler was a rival for Eddie Alvarez at Bellator. Like, I've watched him come up. I've watched a lot more Michael Chandler than most people. Michael Chandler's problem in this fight is you're not, like, he needs to wrestle Gaethje because you're not going to outstrike him. And Gaethje's got too strong of a chin to one-hitter quitter him. Like, I've watched him get smashed in fights. Like, Dustin Poirier needed a baseball bat to knock him out. Like, Eddie Alvarez took like 35 punches in a row. You're not going to outstrike him, so you need to wrestle him. And I think Justin Gaethje is too sound of an all-around fighter to protect guard, to protect shoots. I can't see how Chandler wins the fight. Like, I don't know what method of victory he would win by, so I have to go with Gaethje. And if I had to pick, I'd say, if it's only 3 rounds, I'll say Gaethje by decision. It should be a 5-round fight, though. That pisses me off.
Definitely should. I mean, my breakdown of it, to me, this was the toughest fight to pick of the 3. I've been on Gaethje this whole time. I'm going Michael Chandler here. And I know this is probably a surprise to everybody, but I think Chandler wins it late 3rd round. Somehow, some way he gets in a position where he has the advantage, and I think ref calls it.
Submission, TKO?
Third round TKO.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying I'd be upset if that outcome happened because I think it's going to be a great fight. I just don't see it. Maybe I'm just blind.
So I guess you obviously have been on Michael Chandler a lot longer than a lot of people have.
Correct.
His fight against Du Bronx, obviously, wasn't like there was a point where I thought Michael Chandler could be our lightweight champion. That fight showed me, you probably have already seen it before, but that fight showed me that Michael Chandler is sound all over. I mean, he got caught. I mean, let's call it what it is. He got caught. Charles Oliveira, he definitely turned it up a notch. But I think Michael Chandler is a guy who's – both of these guys, Justin Gaethje too, they're going to go legit balls to the wall, and I just feel like at some point those fights are the ones that go either way, and I got Michael Chandler edging them out here. Like, I think they're both going to land like 70 significant strikes on each other. It's just going to be a war. Like, I think it's the best fight of the night, but I'm going to go with Chandler.
I think all 3 of them could be fighter nights. All 3 of them. Give me your prediction on the fight.
I'm going Gaethje TKO 2nd round for a lot of the reasons you said. I think everything that Chandler is really good at, I think Gaethje's a little bit better. I think Gaethje is the cleaner striker of the 2. I think he's a little bit more technical.
He is.
He's going to be a little bit more accurate with his punches.
He is.
I think wrestling is probably a wash, if anything.
Chandler's better.
I think in straight wrestling, I think in MMA wrestling, I think it's a little different. I don't think that fight goes to the ground anyway. So I think they're going to stay in the pocket and they're going to throw. I think Gaethje will catch Chandler before Chandler catches Gaethje. So I'm going again. I think it has the opportunity to be a very great fight. It's going to be a very entertaining fight. It is not going to be a boring fight. Both these guys like to get in bang. Like, they're not guys that are going to sit there and, kind of like dance around for 3 minutes of a round. You're not going to see that with this fight, especially with only being 3 rounds. You got to go in and fight.
It's only 3 rounds? Are you sure? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm hoping against hope.
Probably is. I mean, it's not a title fight. I mean, it shouldn't be. So I
just want it to be 5.
I think Gaethje. I think
Dante said Chandler by decision.
I'll take Gaethje TKO round 2.
Okay. I have Chandler. I have Gaethje decision. Zhang Weili versus Doug Rose. I know where you guys are big Doug Rose fans. Might as well break it down for me. Listen, I can't talk shit until after the fight. So all I'm going to do is sit here and say what my pick is, And, we'll let the fighting speak for itself because, when a fight gets stopped in the first 3 minutes of the first time they fight, I can't say shit. But I'll tell you right now, I know who I'm going with, and I feel very strong about it. I'm going to go 3rd round stoppage for Zhang Weili. 3rd round stoppage. I think she is going to turn it up. I think she's going to smother Rose. I think that she'll have her guard up. She's not going to get caught with any of those. I think there will be a time in the fight where Rose catches her with a clean flush shot, and that'll be your turning point in the fight when Zhang Weili turns it on and beats her after that.
I like the round, don't like the pick. I'm going Thug Rose, 3rd round TKO. I just feel like this Rose is so much not different from the last fight, but now that she's the champion, I feel like she knows like exactly what she needs to do to win that fight. Like obviously, the fight was quick before, but it showed that her film session and all her work that she put in with her camp, Pat Barry and everybody else involved, it definitely paid off for her. And on the other side, Zhang Weili, she's got Henry Cejudo in her corner, and I do think that's going to help her out this time around. That's why I think the fight goes a little bit longer. But I just think that they're going to be going strike for strike, and I think Rose is going to catch her slipping in the 3rd round, and it's going to end the night for her.
Charlie?
I got Thug Rose in the 4th stoppage. I agree with a lot of Cottrell said. I think it's going to be a very good fight. I don't think it's going to end quick like the last fight. I think Thug's in her head a little bit now. I mean, she's going to watch for that kick all night. That is going to disrupt her timing a lot. She's not going to want to come in and get caught with that kick. I think that opens up other things for Thug Rose. I just like her overall striking game better, which is crazy because I really like Weili a lot. Thug Rose is just that underdog. Like she's just that girl you always like pull for. Like I don't know. There's just something about her. And again, I think the Cottrell's point, I think her mentality of her being champ again and being back on top. I think she knows how painful it was to lose her belt last time. I just don't see her losing Saturday night. I don't. Worst case she does, and we're gonna get a 3rd one. But
best case she does, and we get a 3rd one.
I mean, best case for you.
No, best case for anybody. You get 3 of those fights.
I mean, no,
the viewer.
No, she kicks her head off the canvas again. I don't need to see it a 3rd time.
Not gonna happen. I think Zhang Weili dominates the fight. To be fair, I want to give Rose her credit. She has grown so much in her career from where she started to where she's at. She was in everyone's mind the clear favorite to win her Ultimate Fighter. I had Cookie Monster in that fight, and Cookie Monster took her down and beat her up. Mm-hmm. And it was a fight where she was not prepared to get put on her back, and she's evolved so much from that fight. She has the clean striking. She is flashy. She has everything that a women's MMA fighter has. MMA fighter needs to be marketable. I just think that Zhang Weili is a better fighter. And we'll find that out Saturday night. I'm going with that heavy. Last one of the night will be a rematch. Colby Covington versus Kamara Usman. You want to start this time, Shelly?
Sure, I'll start. I'm going Kamara Usman. A bunch of factors here. He's the bigger fighter. I think he's the better fighter. I think the best fight you ever seen from Colby was the last time they fought. Colby's only fought one time in the last 2 years. It's against a washed-up Tyron Woodley. Kamara's just been in the cage, staying sharp, walking through people. I remember we had this argument towards the beginning, like right when we started the show, like where he was, like all time welterweight, overall, like Mount Rushmore, blah blah blah. He's quickly climbing that ladder. He's looked better every time he's been in the cage his last 3 fights.
That is a fact.
He's looked sharper. His striking has improved dramatically. He's great in the clinch, and he's definitely not a guy you want on top of you on the ground. I think Colby's a very good fighter. I don't want to make it sound like I don't think Colby's capable of winning the fight, because I think he is. Especially when you have 2 elite fighters in a cage like that. Everybody always has a puncher's chance. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind Colby couldn't catch Usman and finish him. I just don't think it's likely. I think Kamara has more ways to win the fight. And I think it's a fight. If it does go to decision, it's one of those things where you got to beat the champion. You absolutely have to go out and win at least 3 or 4 rounds to make it no doubt about it.
So what's your projection where it goes?
I'm going Usman finish in the 4th.
Control?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
So I feel like I was the one who's always been on Kamaru. Kamaru's definitely one of my favorite in the UFC to watch. People called him boring. He showed he wasn't boring anymore. This matchup against Colby Covington, I feel like is going to be a classic here. I think it goes all 5. I don't know how it gets there. I don't know how these guys are going to survive all the shots, but I think it goes 5. I got Kamara winning a split decision. I think it's that tight. I think Colby just is a not necessarily a matchup problem for Kamara.
He is.
But
He's a matchup problem.
he is what you need to stop a guy like Kamara. Like the threat of his wrestling plus him being able to get shots in close range. Kamara was gonna probably try and keep a little bit more distance just because he'll guard against the takedowns and he can keep the range with Colby just because the reach is going to be to his advantage. But I really feel like this fight, it goes the distance. It's a complete war just like last time. You're going to have a lot of broken bones in this one. Colby's jaw's probably going to break again. I think he could mess up Kamara as well. I got Kamara split decision.
Do you know why he's a matchup problem for him? I'll make it very simple. Kamara can't wrestle better than him.
No.
Kamara can't strike better than him.
No.
So the issue becomes Kamara has to clinch with him. And that's where Kamara wants to win that fight. He wants to get in the clinch. He wants to get in dirty box and hold him up, stronger body, push, and then hit him with those elbows and those punches in the clinch. That's where Kamara Usman wins the fight. I think Kamara Usman wins the fight, but Colby Covington is a matchup nightmare for someone like Kamara Usman. Like, he's not a good enough wrestler to beat him wrestling-wise, and he's not a good enough striker. He's not quick enough to be a better striker than Colby is. So what I think is going to happen, I think that Colby's going to look flashy and really good in that first round and beat him in that first round. I think Kamara eventually gets him in the clinch. I think it becomes a 3rd round stoppage, and I think Kamara Usman wins the fight and to everyone's avail. But I think it'll be a very close fight. I think it'll be 1-1 on everyone's scorecard when it happens.
I was shocked to build up to this fight that Colby kind of got away from his shtick as well.
Did you hear? He did an interview recently, and I got to give him all the credit in the world. They told him before one of his fights they were going to cut him.
Yeah.
And then because he wasn't marketable.
Right. That's how the whole thing started.
That's how the whole shtick started.
Yeah. But I'm just surprised he's been that way in and out of the cage. I mean, again, he's only fought once in the last 2 years, but I mean, he's always in the middle of like press conferences or feuds or like being in the same place other times.
Fights.
He does.
You don't need to sell this one though.
But my point is, he's kind of like, I don't want to say he's full like blown like Connor, but like he's very like into that like space of like, mentally like battling with somebody before they even get in the cage, and he went the complete opposite on this one. Like everything. He's taking little jabs here and there, but everything
Well, why
I've
would
heard.
you mentally battle with somebody who broke your jaw last time?
Well, I mean, you still
Maybe
do.
I get it. Maybe in my head, maybe he just needs to let his fighting do the talking because he's never beat him. Like, I think him and Jorge would be the best shit-talking match of all time.
Yeah, I mean, Jorge's got to win a fight here sooner than later to kind of be relevant again. I love Jorge, but he's got to beat somebody.
Well, he's fighting Leon, right?
Yes.
Can't wait for that.
That's 269.
So you got to be kidding me because we got to wrap it up.
I can't believe he took that fight.
Who, Leon?
Yeah.
I'm glad he did.
I'm glad he did. I just can't believe he took it. I mean, he was literally already named like #1 contender.
And the thing is too is that he talked all that mess about like I don't want to fight Jorge. I don't want to fight Masvidal. And then here you are fighting Masvidal.
It's just yeah, it's great. I mean,
for us, it's great. Yeah.
It's great. I mean, he goes in there, loses though. He's going to go right back down the ladder, which he's waited 3 years to finally get up to the top and beat the people he needs to do, which he's done. Just maybe not the best career decision in the world.
Get us started.
All right, so you got to be kidding me this week. Mike, go ahead. Let's get it rolling. So I don't need the sound, no sound with it, but so Odell Beckham Jr. and the Cleveland Browns just haven't been able to get on the same page. So Odell Beckham's dad is frustrated. Baker's not getting him the ball. They're not calling enough design plays for him. So he decides to put out this video. It's a montage of the whole season so far of Odell being somewhat open or just completely open, and either Baker not throwing him the ball or Baker just completely missing him with the throw. Of course, this led to so much speculation, and, we saw Odell's name being shopped around at the deadline, and, is he going to get traded? Is he going to get cut? Whatever. So you got his dad posting the video, LeBron saying free OBJ, Ja Morant saying it, Dame Lillard chiming in on it, all these guys chiming in on it. Odell Beckham, surprisingly, hasn't said a word. Odell Beckham goes to practice, helmet in hand. They send him home. So my you got to be kidding me this week is Odell Beckham is actually trying to be a professional here. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying that he didn't, talk to his dad about releasing the videos, whatever. But he's trying to be a professional. He's coming to work. He has the same injury Baker Mayfield has. He tore his labrum this year as well, and he's still playing through that, coming to work, not getting targets, and hasn't said a word. Has literally been a stand-up guy for all regards in the media compared to his time in New York. And he's getting crucified for what everyone else is doing. Yet, Baker Mayfield's wife can tweet, or post whatever she wants to. Everything's fine. No one cares about it. I think it's a complete joke. Kevin Stefanski and the team sent him home today. And there's so many reports about him getting released, and at this point, it's like why? If you don't want him on the team, why didn't you trade him yesterday where you could have got something for him? If you don't want him on the team, why don't you just hold off for the rest of this year? Same thing what Green Bay is doing with Aaron Rodgers, and ship him when the season's over. It makes absolutely no sense to me. And the craziest part about it is that the Browns aren't that far off from being a playoff team. They're literally one game away from being tied for second place in the division. Right now, there's 3 teams in the playoffs. If the season ended today, there's 3 teams in the playoffs from the AFC North. It makes absolutely no sense while they're handling it this way, and you're trying to fight for a playoff spot. Literally 6 weeks ago, you thought this team could potentially be in this mix for a Super Bowl, and now you're doing stuff like this. It's just absolutely unbelievable, and it makes me say, same old Browns. But I'll be cheering for them on Sunday, but Cleveland.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Shally, go ahead.
It's going to come no surprise to a lot of people. If you're friends with me on Facebook or like any else that I've talked to today. This one for me this week is a little bit more serious. It's going to be Henry Ruggs III for me. If you're not aware of what happened the other night, Henry Ruggs left a club or a bar or something with a girl that he was seeing. Proceeded to was extremely drunk. Proceeded to drive home and rear-ended another car doing 127 miles per hour, which then in turn ended up killing a young lady and her pet dog in her car. His blood alcohol limit was twice the legal limit. He had an unregistered firearm in the car. It's inexcusable. It's disgusting. There's more information coming out about it. Like literally right before we went on air, the girl was literally 2 blocks away from her house. He rear-ended her so hard that the back of the car crumpled up. She couldn't get out of the doors wouldn't open. Her car then caught on fire. The security guard that was the first from a neighboring complex that was the first on scene said he got to the car and tried to get her out. It was already on fire and so hot. She was conscious and screaming. She literally burned to death while she was alive, along with her dog. This is something that it was so avoidable. It's unbelievable. He was going 156 miles an hour through the intersection that they clocked him on before he slammed on his brakes. He hit her doing 127. His career is over, as it should be. He got released, obviously, late last night once they gathered all the facts. It's just heartbreaking. It's disgusting. You have a young man that had all the talent in the world, all the promise in the world, his whole career in front of him, was having a good year this year with the Raiders. And he threw it all away because he didn't want to make a phone call. You have $1 million player that didn't want to get a Lyft or an Uber or even use the NFL service, which is anonymous. And a young lady's dead because of it. It sucks. It's heartbreaking. It's sickening. I'm not going to sit on here and, dwell on it too much, but this was an easy one for me this week. It's just really sad. And he should go to jail, and he should do every day that the judge gives him. He deserves it all. So for this week, easy for me. Henry Ruggs from the Raiders.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to follow that. Not going to have one this week. I just wanted to send any type of prayers to that young lady's family for what she just went through and what her whole family went through. Obviously, to get that report, and it sickens me. It's really it's one of those things where it's totally avoidable. And to know that Henry Ruggs plays football for his best friend who died in a drunk driving situation. So that'll be very somber signing off. Any final thoughts from anybody? So for that,
Good.
Show 56. Let's tune into some UFC, NFL, and we're out.